DayZ is a survival game developed and published by Bohemia Interactive. Originally starting as a mod for Arma 2 that got insanely popular, development of a standalone game began in 2012, with first alpha coming out on December 16, 2013. After 5 long and painful years in development, it was officially released on December 13, 2018. I used to play DayZ in its early access with friends, but didn't touch it for years. After hearing that it is finally out and reading about all the cool stuff that was added, like vehicles, base building, and most importantly, mods, I ventured into Chernobyl once more, this time as a solo player. DayZ is a complicated game, and reviewing it was not easy, since I know how big its potential is and how it got wasted away. So let's dive deep into it and see if it is still worth your time. First of all, you absolutely need to get the microphone, because DayZ is a game built around human interaction, and they are by far the best part about it. You're not gonna remember guns you found, characters you built, or zombies you killed, but you're definitely gonna remember when you got captured by bandits, dragged around like a pet, and then you were forced to drink deadly chemicals. Without microphone, you are a kill on sight target, and no one will want to deal with you. Once you get the mic, you can talk to random strangers, build friendships, or judge player behavior before you decide to attack them or not. Unfortunately, you won't just be interacting with others. Your main goal is to survive, and core gameplay revolves around that. After spawning at coast with limited supplies, you can see these 5 bars at the bottom: hunger, thirst, blood, temperature and health, and you better keep those in green. For that, you need to scavenge as much as possible. You can stay at coast, there are less zombies and more inexperienced players, but since everyone spawns here, there is less loot and weaker weapons. Or you can go inland, where more dangers wait for you, but loot is better and more frequent. No matter what you choose, most of your time in DayZ will be spent going from house to house, scouring every little nook and cranny for some beans, water and guns. Before we get to my first complaints, let me tell you about 3 types of servers you can play on, at least on PC. There are official vanilla servers run by Bohemia, community vanilla servers that are run by other players, or you can go nuts in community modded servers. I, as most of DayZ players, started at official ones, and these are usually empty when it comes to supplies. On official servers you only have one character, and that is a problem. People can hop around, raid all the supplies from a server, and move to another. There are also only around 40 of them available for a community that regularly gets over 10,000 players online, which makes finding stuff even harder. Most of the time I only found clothing, and I felt like I was playing a fashion simulator, because only thing that kept changing was my appearance. So while I would recommend starting off at official servers to get a grip on basic mechanics and layout of the map, after a few hours it is best to move on to community ones. There are tons of great vanilla choices filled with players. Plus, each one has a separate character, so no server hopping, and they are run by other members of community, who care and give them regular wipes and restarts to keep loot fresh.
I'm the Joker, baby!
Outside of Scavenger's Hunt, DayZ has tons of in-depth survival mechanics. Let's say you take damage in a firefight and lose a lot of blood. In other games you usually recover by drinking food, water and using a bandage. Well, not in DayZ. First thing you need is a blood donor. Then you both need to test if your blood types are compatible. If they are, you can use collection kit to get donor's blood and combine it with IV start kit to create IV blood bag for recipient to use. Other than incompatibility, you also need to be wary of diseases. Yes, in DayZ you can catch cholera, salmonellosis, cold or influenza, so I hope you paid attention in biology class. Most of these diseases can be treated with antibiotics, but there are some that are incurable, like hemolytic reaction after incompatible blood transfusion or brain prion disease that you can get by consuming human meat. There are also other things that want to kill you outside of that. If you go for a swim, your clothes get wet and you need to dry them near fire, or else you might die from hypothermia. Don't stay too close to fire though, unless you want to smell your own burning meat. Combat is not fun either. You can get bitten by zombies, and players might make a piñata out of you, break your bones, or decorate nearby walls with your insides. Outside of survival, you can do other things that will help you out there, and what I like is that each mechanic has logic behind it. If you want to build a shelter, you need to cut down trees with an axe, and then create planks out of wooden logs with handsaw. But in order to make these planks hold together, you need to get nails, and before you start building walls, a base is required. For that, you need a fence kit and a shovel to dig it up. You killed an animal and want to eat it? Well, you better start a fire. For that you need matches, wood and paper. You also can't just hold meat in hand. You either put it on stick or in a cooking pot. Everything spawns in places you would expect it to, so you can find shovels in sheds, axes at lumber mills, or pills at hospitals. You need to use brain in DayZ, and that is something not many games require you to. Unfortunately, you will never use most of these mechanics, and honestly, only reason why I even tried them was for this review. 90% of time you will be dying to hunger, thirst, and getting your brains blown out. Speaking of blowing brains, what about gunplay? Gun combat is another thing DayZ does really well. Guns have weight, you can feel impact of high caliber weapons, and usually you can kill someone with a headshot or few body shots. Aim is important, and you need to take other factors into consideration as well. If you have a big gun, it is harder to move around, and you might get stuck on walls in close quarters, but in long range battles, a sniper rifle is superior. I'm not sure if it can be called realistic, since I never shot a gun in my life, but it definitely feels different than usual shooters. What amplifies this is amazing sound effects. You can hear every shot from miles away, just like you would in real life, and nothing gets your blood pumping more than hearing that high-pitched sound of bullets just barely missing you. This makes orientation important. Pinpointing shooter's location based on gun sound will save your life. But I've also read that a lot of players think that shooting in previous versions was better, so I don't know, it feels fine to me. However, all of this doesn't matter that much. What makes DayZ's combat so great is that you only have one life. Everything you gathered in past hours or days is on the line whenever you get into firefight, and you have to win, or else it is game over. Nervous? You're trying to come up with strategies on how to flank the enemy, find his location, learn if he's alone, and consider if running away is an option, so we can live another day. Unless you of course get capped from 100 meters by a sniper. There are a lot of guns to choose from. Pistols, shotguns, rifles, carbines, and each one uses different ammo and modifications. A lot of times I found a weapon with no ammo for it and vice versa. Guns need care as well, you need to clean and repair them. DayZ also has a peculiar way of reloading. You manually put bullets into magazines, then equip a weapon and combine them both. Good luck doing that in the middle of combat. That is why it is best to have spare magazines set on hotkeys that will then be used to reload gun with the press of a button. Outside of guns, you can also find melee weapons here, and these are mainly used to fight zombies. I remember times when they didn't pose any threat. At one point they were outright disabled. In 1.0 you have to be wary of zombies. If you fire your weapon in the middle of city and attract the huge horde, they can easily overwhelm you. But at the same time, they are not that hard to kill in small groups, and as long as you play it smart, they shouldn't be a big problem. Their AI seems to be a lot better than it used to be. I still remember how bad it was in early access. DayZ and roleplaying go hand in hand. Thanks to its in-game mic support, you can pretend to be anyone you want. Wanna be a bandit that captures innocent new spawns? Just get a gun, some rope, and you're good to go. Do you hate human interaction and want to get lost in wilderness? Feel free to move into center of Chernarus forest, where no one will bother you. I even met the guy who was a reporter making interviews in Chernos fire station. Seriously, there are unlimited possibilities if that is something you enjoy. Even if you're not a role player, with each new spawn you can be someone different. Fancy some PvP? Head straight for airports to get a gun and a bullet in your face. Or you can lay low, slowly build your character by scouring coast cities, and then move inland once you're prepared. If you want, you can focus on repairing one of many cars scattered around, build a base, help newcomers, or just walk across the map to see how long it takes. Maybe scratch that last thing. All the things that I talked about until now are how DayZ could and should work. But as Purple Josh Brolin once said,
reality is often disappointing.
It is nothing like I described it so far, and all of this and its potential is wasted away. DayZ has three fundamental problems. You can't get attached to anything, it takes too much time to get anywhere, and no one really cares. First of all, this is how your character's life usually goes. You spawn at coast, in the middle of nowhere, you go from house to house, going through same looking buildings over and over again, only to find maybe few cans of food, a shitty pistol with no ammo, and bazillion pieces of clothing. Once you get bored of that, you start moving inland. Map is massive and it takes tens of minutes to get from edge to middle, where you can find some good loot. In meantime, there is a high chance that someone will shoot you, you run out of food and water, or your character dies in an unfortunate incident. If you somehow make it to, let's say, military base, if it was not looted, you might be able to find some functioning weapons and cool pieces of gear. Bear in mind that this whole process can take you hours if you decide to loot around coast a bit, or at least 1 or 2 if you went inland straight away. Now that you have your loot and are not dead yet, well, there isn't that much you can do. You can now return back to coast and scare newcomers, move north for PvP action, try to get even more loot, or reconsider life choices that led you to playing DayZ.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
All the cool mechanics I talked about before, there is almost no use for them. Finding all the things needed for blood transfusion is damn near impossible. Building a base on a non-modded server will take you days, if not weeks. When I tried it on modded one, it took me hours to build 2 walls, and that was only because I was able to buy most of supplies. Trying to repair a car? Good luck with carrying doors or batteries across the map. The question is, why would you even bother with any of this? It is so easy to lose your character and everything that comes with it in a matter of seconds. Unless you have a clan, a base, or play on heavily modded server, it will take you hours to get anywhere, in terms of both gear and distance. After you die dozens of times to hunger, bullets or zombies, you will feel numb and stop caring about anything, and your best bet is to either start messing with people, which is what most players end up doing, or just stop playing the game. And I hate saying that, because there are moments of hope where DayZ shines. Those PvP moments where you hold your breath and hope to God you see your opponent before he sees you. Those times when you find awesome gear in a freshly respawned base. When you meet someone in a town and you join up for an adventure, or at least exchange a few words. But to get those moments, you have to persist through hours of boredom where you die, spawn, find things, die and spawn again. It's like when gold diggers tried to find gold in rivers. Most of the time they were unsuccessful, but those few shining bits they found every few hours kept them going. And same applies to DayZ. It is a game full of dullness, where you ask yourself, why am I even still playing this? Just to get a few minutes full of adrenaline and joy that will make you say it was all worth it. And all of this could have been avoided if developers didn't decide to fuck around for 6 years and then abandon the game as soon as people stopped caring about it. Yes, there is new engine, new animations, better graphics, less bugs, but for me, those are all surface level improvements. DayZ's core gameplay hasn't evolved at all, and while some people don't have a problem with that, I do. Bohemia could have easily expanded churners and make it more exciting. Why not add NPCs that have their own outposts and can give you simple quests? Like, bring me a shovel so I can finish my garden. Or, I don't know, go to this place and give this dude a package for your reward. There is no need to add a big storyline with voice actors or anything. Just some simple tasks that could be used as a so-called carrot on a stick to keep players motivated. This could also make map exploration more exciting. You would have reason to go to places you never visited before, to complete quests and fight parts of civilization, instead of always going to airports and big cities, because these are only places that have anything worthy. Or at least a trading system, where you could exchange stuff with NPCs that you don't need for stuff you might want. Why not give us option of playing on smaller maps or unlimited stamina? Trust me, you will get bored of running for 15 minutes just to get to nearest town. I mean, DayZ doesn't even have achievements. Every goddamn small indie game has ones. But here, they just don't care. And don't get me started on game-breaking bugs. Even to this day, there are countless reports of people losing all their progress with new updates, falling through maps when driving cars, getting stuck in environment, and a lot more. What I find absolutely disgusting is that now that the game is out of early access, even if it clearly still belongs there, developers are making a DLC for it, with new map and bears. Like, this game is nowhere near completion, and only thing developers care about is money. Only saving grace DayZ has are mods. They are one of few reasons why I would maybe recommend buying this game on PC. Most of stuff I talked about is available thanks to them. There are mods that add traders along with safe zones where you can meet and talk to other players without fear of being shot. Mods with new weapons and clothing. Even though I think there is more than enough of those in vanilla. Mods that improve base building, add new items into it, or allow you to build anywhere. You can even play with winter edition of Churners, or if you're tired of it, you can try out new maps made by community. There is also this big expansion in works that will add mutants, weapons and zone from Stalker into DayZ. There are many quality of life improvement ones as well, like mods that add map and map markers that you can use for easier orientation, unlimited stamina, new drinks or meals, and a lot more. Unfortunately, mods don't work here like they do in New Vegas. If you want to play with them, you need to find a server that has them implemented, or vice versa. If you want to play on a server, you need to have all its mods. And since in-game browser isn't exactly useful when it comes to letting you know what mods are on each server, I would recommend using DayZ standalone launcher. This little application will automatically detect what mods you need and download them for you, so you don't have to worry about anything. You just find the server you want to play on and let launcher handle anything else. There are tons of popular servers with great mods that you can play on. You can find servers geared more towards builders, loners or PvP enthusiasts. One more thing I didn't talk about is if DayZ is worth buying for solo players and newcomers. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. Newcomers might have more problems in combat, but most of the time it is about element of surprise and your location. Of course, veteran players can kill you even if you get a drop on them and take advantage of an otherwise bad situation, thanks to their previous PvP experiences. But combat is not as frequent as all those YouTube videos make it seem, so don't worry too much about it. You're gonna get better over time, skill ceiling isn't that high like in some other games, and besides, there are other things that will try to kill you, like a game itself. I used to play this game in groups and alone, and just like every game, it is more fun with friends. But you can find those in game if you want, and even if you don't find any, DayZ is geared towards solo play, and there aren't any things you can't do as a loner. Of course, if you want to build a base or repair a car, it will take you a lot more time than it would with friends. Combat will be a bit harder, but like I said, if you play it smart and attack your enemies first, you can come out on top without any problems. In my playtime, I didn't meet many groups of players, and if I did, they were usually friendly. It is loners that are more dangerous. Watch out for them. Having a friend can help you get over boring parts, and if you have someone you want to chill with and talk while playing a game, DayZ is perfect. Most of the time you are walking long distances where nothing happens. Since this is a review, I would give Vanilla DayZ a 5 out of 10. 6 if we take mods into consideration. DayZ is a game that could have been a lot more than it is, if it had more competent developers, and every time I play it, I can see its wasted potential. At its core, it is a well-made hardcore survival game with lots of great ideas that however never went anywhere, and was destroyed by deep-rooted issues that never got fixed. My patience with DayZ is now gone, and it is not gonna waste any more of my time, but I will always remember all those great moments I had in it. Can I recommend it? Well, it depends on how much time you have, and how much of it are you willing to sacrifice to boredom, anger and frustration, just to have the most unique experience in gaming that no other game can replicate. And yeah guys, I guess that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this review. This video was basically something a bit new that I didn't do before, because instead of doing is it worth buying for solo players newcomers, I decided to do a review of an online game, because honestly I think that the title I have for that series is really bad and I couldn't come up with anything new, and also making those types of videos is really hard because I couldn't just come up with a structure for it. So that's why I decided to kind of rework them into reviews. It is a lot easier to make a structure for it. It is also a lot easier to sell it and give it name. Now that I'm doing critiques, reviews and stuff like that, I can now name them a critique or review of something, and it will be a lot easier to, kind of recognize my channel for this. In these videos I will still have parts about whether or not it is worth buying for solo players or newcomers, but the whole video won't be centered around that anymore. I think this is a good change to make. It makes making, writing and promoting these videos a lot easier, so I hope you don't mind that and will enjoy them regardless. And yeah guys, I guess that's about it, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, tell me what you think about it in the comments, subscribe for more Fallout and other games content, and I will see you next time.